So this girl is about to have her entire childhood destroyed because everyone thinks she's possessed by a demon. So this girl, her name is Mide. This story is going to make you angry at how arrogant people can be. Mide is just 11 years old and she lives with her parents. Her father works for the government. Quiet man, doesn't say much, but her mother, Mama Mide, is one of those fire for fire Pentecostal Christians who sees spiritual warfare in everything. The woman can bind and lose demons like no man's business. Mide is that kind of child every parent wants. She's brilliant, well behaved, and she loves reading those James Hadley Chase novels she buys from roadside sellers. She's tall for her age, beautiful, dark skinned, and she was born with natural dreadlocks. But Mama Mide cuts them off because she thinks they're bad luck. That should have been our first warning sign. Everything is normal until one morning, Mide wakes up and finds strands of her hair on her pillow. Not just a few strands, clumps of hair. At first, nobody thinks much of it. Maybe she's been scratching too much, but then it keeps happening. Every morning, more hair on her bed. The patches on her head starts becoming obvious. And you know, Nigerians, everyone suddenly becomes a hair specialist. The neighbors start trooping in with advice. Use this coconut oil mixed with bitter leaf. Sleep with your head facing north. One even tells her to use her early morning ring as hair treatment. Really weird suggestions from just about everybody. Mide tries everything because she's 11 and she trusts adults know what they're talking about. But the more remedies she uses, the worse her hair gets. The patches are spreading. That's when the real trouble starts. The same neighbors who were giving advice yesterday are now whispering about her today. That child's hair loss is not natural. Something spiritual is happening. Maybe she has enemies in the family lineage. Mama Mide hears these whispers and her spiritual antenna goes up. She looks at her daughter and sees what she thinks is evidence of witchcraft. This 11-year-old girl who spends her time reading books and going to choir practice, Mama Mide decides she must have a spirit husband. You need to understand how insane this sounds, but this is what many people believe. Mama Mide starts dragging Mide to every deliverance session in town. They make this child kneel in the middle of the church while grown adults dance around her, shouting at invisible demons. Some nights they keep her in church overnight because they believe the spirits won't find her there. At school it gets worse. Her classmates start calling her names. Rats don't chop am, meaning rats ate her hair. This is one day during lunch break when her classmates start chanting, "Front hair thief!" so loudly that Mide stops going to the dining hall completely. For a whole week, she starves during lunch rather than face that humiliation. Even when she achieves something great, her hair becomes the story. Mide wins inter-school competitions, gets excellent grades, but people only see the girl with no front hair. In SS2, she becomes head girl. You would think this would be her moment to shine. Instead, the school introduces barrettes as part of the uniform and everybody blames her. Students are saying, "We're wearing barrettes because of the head girl's baldness." She even overhears a house mistress saying exactly that. The constant scrutiny is breaking her down. Every salon visit becomes torture. Hairdressers pause when they see her and ask, "Fine girl, who barbed your front hair like this?" The question haunts her because she knows they are thinking something is wrong with her. At home, Mama Mide is still dragging her for deliverance. More pastors, more holy water, more rebuking of spirits that don't exist. Mide starts avoiding mirrors. She cuts her hair completely short, thinking maybe if she has no hair at all, people will stop staring. But the bald patches are still there. 5 years of this torture, 5 years of being treated like she's cursed. But then something changes everything. Mide gets into the university to study physiotherapy, and this is where the story takes a turn. In one of her medical lectures, she hears the word alopecia. For the first time, she rushes to the library, starts reading medical journals, and discovers that what she's been living with has a name. It's a medical condition, not a spiritual problem. There's no demon eating her hair. There's no spirit husband. Her immune system is simply attacking her hair follicles. The relief she feels in that moment is something I can't even describe. For the first time in 5 years, Mide understands she's not cursed, she's not dirty, she's not possessed. She has alopecia, and millions of people worldwide live with this condition. This knowledge becomes her weapon. She stops attending those deliverance sessions. When her mother brings up her hair, Mide changes the subject. She starts educating herself about the condition and slowly begins to see herself differently. Instead of hiding, she starts experimenting with scarves and caps, turning them into fashion statements. She learns to braid her own hair in styles that work with her condition. She stops going to salons unless absolutely necessary and becomes her own hairdresser. But the biggest change is in her confidence. Strangers start complimenting her height, her smile, her poise. She realizes she's she's been beautiful all along. She just couldn't see it because everyone around her made her feel defective. The girl who once avoided mirrors now looks at herself and sees someone worthy of love and respect. She makes a decision that will change everything. She's going to make sure no other child goes through what she experienced. Years later, after building her career in healthcare, Mide becomes head of programs at a health education organization. With her new position and income, she does something revolutionary. She books a consultation with a dermatologist and gets hair implant surgery. Not because she needs it to feel beautiful, but because she wants to explore the version of herself she once thought was impossible. Then comes the moment that brings everything full circle. Mide organizes her first public seminar on alopecia awareness, and she invites her mother. Standing before an audience, Mide tells her story. She talks about the years of spiritual deliverance, the cruel nicknames, the shame, and how medical knowledge saved her life. She educates people about what alopecia really is, hoping to spare other children from the ignorance she faced. After one of these seminars, a teenage girl approaches her. The girl has obvious patches in her hair and tells Mide how her friends criticize her, and even her mother thinks it's spiritual. Mide sees herself in this girl and knows exactly what to say. This is why her story matters. Not just because she overcame her own trauma, but because she's using her experience to educate others and prevent other children from having their childhoods destroyed by ignorance disguised as spiritual concern.